to the online learning channel. I'm sure you've seen my week 1 video for English. I'm going to move on today to week 2. So remember we covered listening and speaking and reading and viewing. So listening and speaking we said was to enhance our communication skills, fast to listen, comprehend and answer questions. Reading and viewing's purpose was to be able to read a comprehension, a text, an advert or a story, whatever it is, and then to answer written questions based on it. I'm sure you would have seen my previous video. I did put the story up. I did put the questions up. I'm sure you completed them. You'll find the answers in the comments. So let's move on to week 2. So we're going to cover language structures and we're going to cover writing skills. So I'm going to first focus on the language structures. I have put together another PowerPoint for you so it's much easier to see. I'm just going to go onto it. Remember, the language that we learn is for us to incorporate all these language rules that we learn into our writing skills. So therefore, that is why I'm starting with language and not the writing. Because I know in English, some of you start with the writing, but I'm going to do the language first. So all these language rules we're going to learn, we can incorporate it into the writing activity, which I'm going to give it to you. So while we're waiting for it to open, don't forget, in my writing lesson today, I'm gonna touch on the story that we did in my previous video, which was The Strange Land. Remember, it was about a girl, Dorothy, who was left in a place where she didn't know how she got there, and she wanted to find a way back home. Okay, so now that we have that my PowerPoint is opening, I'm going to start with the language. So we're going to go on. If you have any questions, please don't forget to put them into the comments box. I will answer every question that you have. And the aspects that I have for today, if you have any questions based on that, I will give you the answers and I will be posting the answers for my worksheet, which will be in the comments box below. You could click on it and you can download it. Okay, so we're going to move on to week 2. Let's look at our focus and objective. So we're going to divide this into half. The first half of my lesson is going to be on language. The second half of my lesson is going to be on writing. So for language, I'm going to focus on week 1 and 2 work, which is nouns. That's common nouns and proper nouns in specific. Then I'm going to have prefix and suffixes. Then tenses, which we're going to be focusing on the present tense today. Then we're going to have synonyms, right? If you don't know what that is, synonyms are words that are similar. And then we're going to do punctuation. We're going to do comma, full stop, and inverted commas. Then, after I'm done with language, I'm going to move on to writing, which is writing a story using the writing process. Now, I know we started this in grade 4. So you need to use your knowledge that you've gained last year and apply it this year. If you forgot, it's fine. I'm going to go over the writing process when I come to it. Let's start with language. Number 1, common noun and proper noun. Remember, a noun is a naming word. It could name anything like people, places, or things. So it's common. We use it all the time. We talk about it all the time. A common noun names everyday and ordinary things like dog, desk, hair, people, cat, door. Okay, something we talk about all the time. A proper noun. Remember, a proper noun always starts with a capital letter. It's names of specific people, places, days of the week, months of the year, book or movie titles, street names, etc. Proper nouns always begin with a capital letter. Please don't forget that. Right, let's look at some examples. Places, Durban, names of people, John, days of the week, Sunday, month of the year, December, road name, Field Street. Remember, those are just some of the examples that I've put there. There is many. So don't forget common noun, things that we talk about every day. It must name people, places, or things. And proper noun starts with a capital letter and it can name month of the year, book or movie titles, days of the week, and so on. Let's move on. What is a prefix? Right, before I read that, a prefix, how you would remember it, guys. Pre is before something can happen. So a prefix is attached to a base word or a root word that is attached in front of the base word or root word, right? Let's go on. A prefix is a letter or a group of letters added to the beginning of a word. Again, prefixes have the ability to change the meaning of this root word. Each prefix has its own meaning. Look at the following prefixes and how they have been added to a root word to change its meaning. Okay, so let's look at number one. Just look at two examples. Dis. The word dis on its own is a prefix, but it's not a word on its own. You have to add it to another word for us to give it a meaning. So dis means like not to do something. So if we're joining to like, it gives us dislike. That means we don't like something. You could also get disable. That means we can't do something. You got disorganized, that we are not organized. So the word dis itself could, if attached to a root word, could mean the opposite of it. Let's look at another one. Let's look at re, number 7. Re means again, to do something over again, right? The examples we have is reread, like you reread a book. Rewrite, you rewrite something out. Review, to look at something again. Replay, to play something over again, like a movie. Or to redo, you did something and you need to redo it. And one more example, let's look at miss, right? Miss means bad or badly. Let's look at one example from there. Let's look at misunderstand, right? Misunderstand means you didn't understand that person properly. It was badly. You didn't understand it properly, right? Mislead, that means you led somebody into a wrong way, or you led somebody to believe you in a wrong way. Okay, so those are just some of the common ones. You can read them below, right? Let's move on to the next. Suffix. Remember, pre was before the root word. Suffix comes after the root word. Okay, it's a letter or group of letters added to the end of the word. So how I remember, if I was writing an exam, pre is before, suffix is after. Each suffix has a function, and adding it to a word can change its meaning of this or function in a sentence. Same like prefix, add it to a root word or base word. That's another word for root word is base word. Add it to that, it'll give you another meaning. I'm just going to look at one example here. Let's look at able. Able, right? It means capable of being. Able is a word on its own, like you're able to do something. But if you add it to a root word, let's look at one example. Portable, right? It says as able, but when you pronounce it in a word, it's portable. Next, preventable. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at AL, which is L. Related to, like logical, philosophical, bacterial. So at the end of a root word, you'll have a suffix. This changes the meaning of it. Okay, so remember we did prefix before, suffix after. I'm going to keep recapping so we remember this, so we incorporate it into our writing activity. Next, simple present tense. Right, simple means no ing, no ly. It's just simple. Right? It is when we use a verb to tell us things that happen continually in the present, like every day, every month, every second, whatever it is. It's basically changing the verb in the sentence to say that that verb, that action is happening now. Let's look at number 1. It usually rains. The verb in the sentence is rain. So they're making rain into happening now. So rains. So it usually rains every day here. Let's look at another one. Let's look at number 13. You have a big house. Have meaning you have it now with you. It's at the present. Let's take another one. Number 19. He catches the train every morning. Catches. He catches it every morning. Right? Let's go to one more example. Number 7. Julie talks very fast. Talks happening now. So simple present tense is the verb. It focuses on the verb and it makes the verb to happening right now. So when you're answering questions in the exam or in my exercise that I have for you, look for the verb. Look how you change it into present happening at this moment. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Synonym. Synonym, as you can see, I've underlined S. S means similar. Okay. So a synonym is a word that has a similar or the same meaning as another word. Right? Here I've done synonym words for you. I've put an extract for you, all the words with C. So let's just try one. Let's just try care. Care is an easy word. So care, we have another word that could say we care about someone, is to say we can show concern, or we want to protect somebody. That's another synonym for the word care. So finding a word that means almost the same thing. Let's try combine. If I tell you combine something, it can also mean blend something, unite something, join something, bring something together, right? The last one on the left hand side, confess. Confess means you admit to something. You're acknowledging that you're doing something wrong. And let's just take one from this side. Correct. If something is correct, for another word, you could say it's accurate, it's right, it's proper. You did it correct. Okay, so synonyms are similar. So when we come to antonyms, you know obviously antonyms is, if it's not similar, it's opposite. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is where we have a lot of problems. Punctuation. It may sound easy, it may look easy, but in the test, it's a bit confusing, right? So I've done a table for you. Let's focus on number 1, which is a full stop. A full stop is used to end a sentence. Let's focus on that first. End a sentence. Remember, ending a sentence can also end in a question mark, an exclamation mark. I'm talking about ending a normal sentence. No questions, no exclamations, nothing at all. So, for example, I did an example for you. I ate pizza today. There's no question there. There's no exclamation. I'm just ending my sentence with a full stop. Right? So the first one, use it at the end of the sentence. Second one, used after an abbreviation. Okay, remember abbreviation is a short version of the word. I did an example for you, Mr. So you write MR dot. If you write out that abbreviation, Mr., it's spelled MISTER. So for now, we'll focus on full stop ending a normal sentence and use after an abbreviation. Let's move on to the comma. Comma, you need to pay very careful attention. There's many ways we could use this. Firstly, used to separate items on a list. So if we're making a list for our mother, father, they're going shopping, we're helping them, we're writing out the list. Let's try this. He has pens, pencils, glue, and highlighters. So we're dividing all the things that this boy has. Even if we were writing a list, we'll divide it, right? You put a comma in between each thing that belongs to him. Next, to show additional information. Let's say we're talking about someone, like an example I have here, Ronaldo. You all know who's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a well-renowned soccer player. So if you're talking about someone and you want to give more information about them, you use commas, just like this. Ronaldo, the soccer player, scored the goal. So we're talking about Ronaldo. We know it's about him. Let's give us something more about him, the soccer player. So now we know he's a soccer player. He scored a goal. We could also say Ronaldo, who wears the green jersey. Who wears the green jersey is also telling us more about him. Okay. Next, place before quotation marks. When I teach my kids, I do quotation marks like this. So don't forget that it starts, it opens, and then you have to close it. So you use comma before we open our quotation mark. I put an example there. Jane said, hey. So after the word said, you got a comma. Before the quotation, make sure you put your comma. Okay, and the last one, it's used to separate repeated words in a sentence. Remember, you can use one word twice. I just did one easy example for you. Whenever you want to say, whatever you want to say, comma, say it now. So we can't have two words that are the same together. We need to put a pause in between for us to emphasize it in the sentence. Okay, let's go on. Number 3, quotation marks. Again, my inverted commas, how I remember it. Okay, it's to show direct speech, as if somebody is saying something, directly speaking it to you. Okay, example, Kim said. So the person Kim said these words. I will go to the mall on Wednesday. Okay, that's the first use. Second use is to indicate a title. I put a title of a movie, it could be a title of a book. Okay, The Fast and the Furious. If you're writing it in a story or telling it to somebody, writing a letter to them, you would have it in quotation mark, which is also called inverted commas. Lastly is the question mark. Okay, a question mark is, you know what it looks like. It's there on the screen for you. This comes at the end of a question. I got two examples there. Where are my clothes? And what have you done to my books? Remember, a question could start with who, what, when, where, and why. The main 5 things. Who, what, when, where, and why. Those you will have to remember because every single story you need it, language you need it, to know it's a question mark you need it, right? So that's my end of my punctuation. Let's go on. Okay, that was the end of my language section. So remember, we did common nouns, proper nouns, synonym, prefix, suffix, and punctuation. Okay, those are the 6 things that are for week 1 and 2. Now we're going to move on to writing and presenting something. So remember, why is writing in English important? Number 1, increase our communication skills. How we talk to someone, how we listen and react to someone. Writing will be used, throughout our whole entire lives. Trust me, once you finish school, you're still going to be using writing for everything. Number 3, it incorporates our intelligence, our education, what we learn, and our thinking skills. So we mix all those things and we bring out our creativity in writing. Use our imagination, use our mind, our intelligence, whatever we learned at school, to create stories, text, newspaper articles, advertisements. Writing could be anything, not just a story. Okay, let's go on. This is what I will focus on. The writing process. Now in school, you know, we have an English book and we have an extra book, or we have something called a jotter. It's where we do planning. In planning, we plan a story. We can't just sit down and just take a page and start writing a story. What if we make spelling errors? What if we combine sentences? What if we repeat sentences in the story? That is why we follow this writing process. Let's look at number 1, brainstorm. Literally using our brain, thinking about ideas we could use in our story. I put a brainstorm idea using mind map for you. I put an example of a mind map as well. So let's focus on the mind map. We write the title in the center, and then we have circles or blocks all around it to plan our story. First, we got our introduction. Then we have topic paragraphs. Remember, topic paragraphs could be about anything, what's happening in the story. And then we have a conclusion. After you do a mind map, you start writing your first draft. So you take all your mind map topics, you start writing your first draft, all your thoughts. Your imagination is running wild now. After you write your first draft of the story, you revise it. What does that mean? You give somebody older than you to read it. Okay? And then after they proofread it, you write your final draft. Let's go on in detail. Step 1, mind map. So remember, I told you I'm going to refer back to my previous video of the strange land. Okay, I have done a mind map for you, so I got my title in the center. Let's start with the right-hand side, the plot. What is a plot? I told you in my video, a plot is a summary of what the story is about. So let's look at the plot for the strange land. A little girl gets lost and tries to find her way back home. So that's my plot of my story. That's what my story must be about. A little girl, she must get lost, and then she must go through something to find her way back home. Then you need to know your main characters. So in your mind map, you put all these things. I got a little girl named Dorothy and her dog named Toto. There could be many other characters. Right? Let's go on to the left-hand side. Setting. Where is the story taking place? A beautiful faraway land with friendly people and colorful surroundings. So I'm describing the setting of how people live there. Okay? Then I got introduction. Remember, I'm focusing again. Who, what, when, where, why, and also how. So our introduction paragraph of our story must answer all these questions. Who is the story about? What is happening in the story? When is it happening? Where is it happening? Why did this happen? And how did it happen? Remember, our introduction paragraph is where we capture our readers' attention. They want to be intrigued in our story. They want to follow our story. They want to know what it's about. in a few lines so they know whether to read. Okay, then we move on to the content, which is the little girl goes looking for help to get back home and finds herself in a situation. Remember, the situation was people thought she was a witch because she wore the shoes that she found at home. Okay, and then we go to our conclusion. Dorothy finds someone who can help her get back to her home, back home, sorry, to her family. Okay, so we just, in my first video, we just had a short version of the story. So my conclusion, if I'm writing about it, I'll let her find her way back home, because that's what the story is. You want it to have a positive ending, a happy ending, for us to learn something from it. So again, you do your mind map, your title, your plot, your characters, your setting, your introduction, your content, and your conclusion. So it's very, very easy. It may look like a lot of work, but it's very easy. From here, you start one by one and doing your story. Let's go on. Step 2. After you've planned your mind map, you did everything, you drew it, you did all your topics, all your plot, everything there. You go to your first draft. Start writing your first draft. The first thing you'll have is introduction. Answer your questions. Who, what, when, where, why, how. Answer all these questions in your introduction. Then you move on to the content. Your content can be divided into different paragraphs. Remember, in writing, you use paragraphs to not make it monotonous, busy, or stuck together. Right? The body of the story. Where is she? How is she going to find her way back home? And so forth. And then your conclusion is how she found her way back home. Remember, each story is written for a purpose. For us to learn a lesson, for us to feel some emotion. Every story has their own purpose. Okay? Next is step 3. Edit your first draft. So remember, we did mind map. Then we went to first draft. Now we have to go back to our first draft, read it, and edit it. Why should we do that? Here's the reason. To check for your spelling errors. We all make mistakes. Even me, I'm a teacher, I make spelling mistakes. Grammatical errors. Writing the sentence in the correct grammar, whether present tense or past tense. Using a dictionary if we have spelling errors. Let's go and look for a dictionary, get the correct spelling of this, and write it down. Ask your parents, your bigger brother or sister, or any other adult that you live with and that's with you to proofread and edit for you if you feel you don't know how to spell something or you want them to double check your work. After you've done that, you'll proofread the edited draft. So after you've edited all over, scratch out this word, put the correct word on the top. You'll proofread it again. And lastly, you'll write and present your final draft, which will be your presented version. So that comes to my end of my video. Remember, we recapped on nouns, common noun, proper noun. Synonyms, we did punctuation. Okay, please use all these punctuation techniques, all these language rules to make your story that you're going to write interesting. We must be captured into it. If some of you want to post your stories onto the comments below, you're most welcome. So please, guys, like, subscribe to the online learning channel. We will be posting more videos. We're going to be doing maths. We're going to be doing science. If you want any other videos to recap from term 1 for other subjects, like social science, which is history and geography, you can let us know. Leave a comment in the box for us below. And also, please don't forget, I am attaching a worksheet which will focus on whatever we did today. So you can take a few days to do this, and we'll post the answers in the comments column for you to check your work and your stories. Please, I would love to read some of your stories. Please post them in the comments so we all can see. Thank you for watching, everyone. And a reminder again, I'll be telling this in all my videos. Please like, please subscribe. This is free for all our learners. So let's stay engaged, parents and learners. Wish you all the best.